I'm a physician, so I got a lot of patients who have breast cancer, and that's as my practice ages, that's something that I'm seeing certainly way more of. But a number of years ago, probably about 8 years ago now, my mom was seeing a physician I worked with, and he did not order a mammogram for her for 4 years. And we ended up moving her to a different physician for other reasons. But the first thing that other physician did was order a mammogram on her routinely. And she ended up having a 2 centimeter breast cancer. And it was devastating because I felt that, I expected as good a care as anybody else would have gotten for my mom. And I felt like she got worse care in that situation. And the nice thing was is I had had enough experience with other patients that I was able to help advise her. She ended up having a double mastectomy and did not want to do any additional therapies. And I supported her in her decisions, and she's done really well. She's 85 now and lives with us, and has had other things happen, stroke and some heart disease problems. But the breast cancer issue has been okay, but to me it was so sad to think that she wasn't getting the standard of care. And that to me is a big part of what I do. I just really try hard. We can't always help that people get cancer, but for me it was something that I really am committed to my patients getting the best outcomes that they can, because a lot of things tend to fall through cracks. My support network for my patients oftentimes is me, so they come in fact, one of my favorite longtime patients. She's just great. I'm hoping she comes here next year. I can't tell too much about her, but she ended up being diagnosed with a 4 centimeter breast cancer that was triple negative just, about a year ago in October. And she came to me and I hadn't seen her for a while, and she said they were planning on doing a lumpectomy, and I brought her in. I saw her as fast as I could, and I got her scheduled downstate, actually, which was a really advantageous thing. She ended up having a second primary that they wouldn't probably have gotten with a lumpectomy. And so I try to be that resource for them, but I've really found that I think the best way for me to be able to be a resource for people is for them to be a resource for each other. But I also ended up spontaneously kind of starting because I met somebody who had a great idea. His name's Eric Zahender, and he owns a resort, Fountain Point Resort. But he is a rower, a crew guy in college, and he's not in college anymore. But he knew this group in Chicago that he was very close with because he went to school in Chicago. And it's Recovery on Water. And they ended up, and I guess it's 7 years old. I talked to Jen Gibbons, who heads it up, and they started with women who had breast cancer. Most, in fact, I think almost all of them had never rowed in their entire life. And so they started this crewing because it's an amazing thing. I mean, if you exercise, you certainly do reduce your chances of recurrence by a huge amount. So good care is never too late. But the exercise is really important, but the group support is extremely important. So Eric said to me, he goes, let's start it here and I'll support you. And he called me at work. He's like, when do you want to do it? And I'm like, so I called everybody I knew, and we got 8 people together because there's 8 in a boat. And we went out at 5:30 at night, and he taught everybody how, probably about an hour and a half on land before you go out. And we got the boat out, and he instructed us from the pontoon boat, and we got all 8 of us rowing. We were out on Lake Leelanau, and the sun was going down. And I was getting a little worried, but we're back on August 31st. We're going to be meeting again, and so this is something he wants to do and keep going. But it's amazing. The feedback that I got from people was stupendous, and I just felt like, if we can just keep that energy, what a healing energy that is for these people. It's really amazing. So. You could go on Recovery on Water, which is the Chicago site. And then we're going to start Recovery on Lake Leelanau. We don't have a site yet, but you could also go to Fountain Point Resort, and on there's crew, or you can contact them, and Eric is the contact name, and he could put you in touch with anybody. So yeah, it's exciting. It is. It's so much fun, and I feel privileged. I feel really lucky.